Hello there. I'm reacting to what if Dooku survived and joined the rebellion, or the Rebel Alliance, or Rebel Scum. But yeah, what if Dooku was in the Clone Wars was the leader of the Separatist Alliance, but instead he not start over. Dooku was the leader of the Droid Army, but let's see what happens if he joined the Rebel Alliance. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And I will have the channel in the description below, so you can check out the original video. The Star Wars Galaxy will be in the description below. Now let's see, what if Dooku survived and joined the rebellion?
What if Dooku survived Revenge of the Sith and lived long enough to join the Rebel Alliance? That's our story for today. I know that Dooku surviving is a bit hard to fathom, but just, work with me here. It's a fun story that I enjoyed, so I hope you enjoy as well. And let's get right into it. Oh, before we begin, Tales of the Empire was just announced, so let me know in the comments. What do you think about that? Trailer looks great. I'm excited. So, anyways, now let's get right.
Before you get into it, I've seen this. I posted this on my channel too. And I've also reacted to the trailer to Tales of the Empire. If you want to see, again, check on my reaction playlist to see my reaction to Tales of the Empire. Well, the trailer for the upcoming Tales of the Empire. Anyway, let's continue.
Into it. Our story begins on the Invisible Hand ship, the flagship of the Separatist army above Coruscant. Outside of it, the largest, most intense battle of the Clone Wars is taking place, as the clone armies take on the droid armies, both trying desperately to win this war. But inside the ship, the three most influential beings in the galaxy stand still, as Anakin Skywalker is now battling Count Dooku, and in a final perfect swing, Anakin has cut through Dooku's hands, and his saber clatters away to the ground. Dooku falls to his knees, and Anakin holds his one blue saber to his neck. And as Dooku kneels here, he sees it. He sees the truth. He has failed. He was only a pawn, and Dooku hears his master tell Skywalker to kill him. So the galaxy stands still as Anakin looks down at Dooku, and before Dooku can say anything, Anakin plunges his lightsaber into Dooku's chest, aiming for his heart. But he missed the heart. It was as if he had a bit of regret or hesitation for killing an unarmed prisoner. But as Dooku was stabbed, he used the Force to slow his own heart rate, making it seem like he was dead, and he flopped to the ground, going unconscious. Anakin, Palpatine, and Obi-Wan would survive, running through the ship, fighting Grievous and escaping. But as they escaped in one half of the ship, Dooku would wake up with the stab wound through his chest. His vision was dark and blurry. He could barely stand, but he used his anger to keep him alive, using the Force to stabilize himself, stumbling through the ship. He finally would make it to the escape pods, and they were all ejected, except for one. One, luckily, was jammed, and Dooku got into it, using his mind to free it from the ship and eject into space. And the pod now floated into open space. Dooku looked down to his missing hands, then to his chest. The pain was overwhelming, and he fainted again, this time all alone in space. Around a day or so later, Dooku would be awoken by a blinding light shining into the escape pod. It was a Republic rescue team looking for any survivors, and the Republic ship connected to the pod, and a group of clones opened the door. These clones were immediately met with a huge Force push, then flew back into their own ship. Dooku didn't have hands anymore, but he could still use his mind to do this. He lifted the blasters of the clones, firing them on each other, killing them. And Dooku got to the controls, telling the pilot to fly them to Sereno. Luckily, the pilot was just some guy hired and working on Coruscant to fly this rescue ship, so he plugged in the coordinates to save his own life. And as the ship flew, Dooku had to sit in the back again. His chest wound was going to kill him if he didn't get somewhere safe. Plus, he still didn't have hands, so as the ship reached Sereno, Dooku guided the pilot to a secret bunker that he'd had built long ago, as he knew about the treachery of the Sith. One of him or Palpatine was always destined to turn on each other, so he had a hidden bunker built for this type of scenario. The pilot landed near the secret entrance. Dooku killed him, and then he stumbled down into it, finding the medical droids in the secret bunker that he'd had transported here. and Dooku was soon on a medical table where droids were performing surgery to repair his chest, then build him 2 new robotic hands, and he was placed into a bacta tank, where even after all of the repairs, his chances of survival were very slim. For an entire week, Dooku would be hidden away here, resting, trying to recover in the tank, and while he was in here, Dooku would have dreams, nightmares, memories of his life. From Jedi to Sith, Dooku would relive it all, and after this week of recovery, he survived. And as Dooku moved through his bunker, still very weak from recovering, he accessed the Republic HoloNet to see what has happened since he died to the galaxy. And since the stab wound didn't kill him, this reveal nearly did. The Republic was dead, the Separatists were dead, the Jedi were dead, and all that remained was Darth Sidious, Emperor Palpatine, ruling over his new empire. He did it. Dooku saw now that Sidious was always 10 steps ahead of everyone, just like he knew, but even more. Over the course of his life, Sidious infiltrated politics and rose up to not only become the Chancellor, but he tore down the Republic and put a new system in place. His empire, and Dooku was conflicted about it all. Part of him burned with the need for revenge, but another part of Dooku, the much larger, louder part of his mind, was filled with shame and failure. He was not just deceived in his final fight with Anakin, but for many, many years. Every day as a Sith was a deception. It was all fake. He was never the true apprentice, never the heir to the Sith. He was simply a tool, just like Maul and Grievous. His entire life, all of his victories, struggles, principles, sacrifices, every single thing he has done, everything he has ever dreamed or wanted, all of it was a sham. He existed only to be the victim of Anakin Skywalker's cold-blooded murder. And now, as Dooku looked himself in a mirror, struggling to breathe because of the stab wound, slowly healing, and with hands that were no longer flesh, Dooku decided that his time was over. He served his purpose, and perhaps now, the Empire would be a new system, a better system. Perhaps the galaxy could thrive under the rule of Palpatine. And Dooku prepared for a retired life, alone in his hidden Sereno bunker. But of course, he would be very wrong about the galaxy under Palpatine. It would not thrive. Instead, it would decay more and more every day. Palpatine only cared about his own power. He truly didn't care at all about the people. Those that suffered under the Republic would only be much worse off, with more and more people thrown into tyranny every single day. The Empire was a disease for the galaxy, and Dooku only watched, hidden away, as things continuously got worse and worse for everyone, except for the rich and the powerful. There was a time at the height of his power with the Sith, where Dooku may have wanted something like this. He was truly evil at that point, but now, alone, Dooku had time to reflect on his failures, and in his time alone, Dooku trained himself, healed himself, thinking that perhaps one day he could emerge and return to the galaxy, not as a Sith nor a Jedi, but as someone who just wants to truly bring peace to the galaxy, unlike Palpatine. For years, Dooku watched corruption grow in the Republic, and his efforts to stop it turned him into something he hated, so he did want to change. And after a few years of training with himself, Dooku would hear rumors of a rebellion beginning to build, and he thought that perhaps he had some way of helping. So Dooku would use some leftover droids as spies to go out into the galaxy and determine who is in this rebellion. It would take around a year for anything substantial, but eventually, Dooku would be confident that Bail Organa of Alderaan was one of these rebel leaders, and so he reached out to Organa with a coded message asking him to come to Sereno. Bail received this message and didn't know exactly who it was for, but the message said that this was for the rebellion, so Bail went in secret to the coordinates and he found a hidden entrance deep in the forest of Sereno. And when Bail cautiously entered the secret bunker, there was no way to possibly prepare him for seeing Count Dooku, former leader of the Separatists, waiting for him with a drink. To Bail and the rest of the galaxy, Dooku was dead and forgotten, with his legacy being nothing but a corrupt leader himself, sowing the seeds for the eventual empire. But as Bail sat down in complete shock, he learned that perhaps Dooku wanted to correct some mistakes. Dooku and Bail would talk for hours upon hours, with cautious conversation quickly shifting to the galaxy at large. Eventually, Dooku would say that he wants to help the galaxy change, and the two of them would discuss how this could be possible. Bail was still having trouble comprehending the situation. Dooku led the army that he and the Republic fought against, but now he was building a rebellion to fight against what was once the Republic, and many people of the rebellion were from Separatist planets. This was a new time. Separatists versus Republic was no more. But Bail and Dooku knew that he could not emerge yet, so instead, the two came up with a new idea. Dooku had billions of credits to his name still available, locked away, hidden on Sereno that the Empire did not know about. Enough credits to, perhaps, restart the battle droids. Bail said this wouldn't work. All of the factories have been destroyed. But Dooku said there was one, a hidden one that Palpatine was not aware of. It was on Mokiv. And, with Dooku's funds, production can continue. The rebellion can have a secret army. Bail didn't love the idea of fighting with droids, but just like with Dooku, desperate times can call for desperate measures. And so, over the next few years, Dooku would stay hidden, while secretly staying in contact with Bail, monitoring the droid production on Mokiv. It was a system that would work, allowing Dooku to continue training in lightsaber combat with his new hands, which he hated, but they were a necessity. Had he lost only one hand, he would have just learned to fight with the other. But without both, he had no choice but to repair them. This would be the system that Dooku and the rebellion would work under, until one day, Bail returned to Sereno, asking Dooku to finally reveal himself to the galaxy. He needs help. Bail revealed that his daughter has been captured by the Empire, and Dooku may be the only one with the abilities to get him back. Dooku asked why him, and Bail said that his first option, Obi-Wan Kenobi, has just lost contact with him on Jabeam. Dooku didn't know that Kenobi was even alive until right now. The apprentice of Qui-Gon lives, someone that Dooku always encouraged Sidious to let join them. Perhaps the one Jedi that Dooku had a soft spot for. And so Dooku would agree to go find Leia, and perhaps save Kenobi. Later on the nearby moon of Jabeam, Obi-Wan Kenobi was battling Darth Vader, and he was losing. As the two of them would battle through the rocky terrain, Vader soon saw an opportunity, slamming his fist into the ground. Kenobi fell to the ground, and Vader used all of his rage and anger to bury him here, underneath the rocks. Vader turned, leaving Kenobi buried to die. This is what he deserved. And as Vader was leaving, he felt something in the Force, a familiar presence, but one that faded quickly. And so Vader continued on, relishing in Kenobi's defeat. But beneath the pile of rocks, Obi-Wan was clinging to the memories of Leia, Luke, and Anakin. He couldn't let Vader win, so he called upon the Force, lifting up the rocks. But suddenly, the rocks lifted much easier than Kenobi expected. He was free, and he looked up to see... No, this wasn't possible. But it was him. Dooku was lifting up the rocks, and he looked down at Kenobi. Dooku was alive. Though he looked older than before, yet still carried great power. Dooku helped lift the rocks, and told Obi-Wan that Bail sent him. Obi-Wan didn't have words, but if Bail sent Dooku, then perhaps Dooku can be trusted? Dooku helped him up, and said that he would explain everything later on, then asked who they were fighting. And Obi-Wan said it was Anakin, which did surprise Dooku, perhaps more than he surprised Obi-Wan. But Kenobi said it was the truth, or at least this is what Anakin has become. So Dooku grabbed his new lightsaber, a blue one, and ignited it as he and Kenobi now chased down Vader. And as Vader was nearing his ship, he had to pause. The presence in the Force was back, and he suddenly had to reignite his lightsaber as two blue sabers swung at him. Vader blocked both, but stumbled backwards as Kenobi and Dooku stepped from the shadows. From his robotic voice box, Vader simply said, "You survived." And Dooku said that he is more alive today than Anakin. And since that fateful day aboard the Invisible Hand, he's come to realize the Sith are in the way of peace. And together, Obi-Wan and Dooku would move in on Vader, and Vader knew this would be a true challenge. The two of them, Kenobi and Dooku, would fight together against the Dark Lord, but despite their efforts, Vader's strength in the dark side kept the fight even for a bit. His strength and ferocity were unmatched, as he pressed on the attack, driving both of them back with each swing of his saber. But Obi-Wan and Dooku would find their balance together, and quickly had Vader on the defensive. With each passing moment, they chipped away at Vader's defenses, wearing him down with a relentless barrage of attacks. And as Obi-Wan dodged a swing from Vader, he jammed his lightsaber into Vader's chest. Then Dooku swung, cutting through Vader's leg. He fell to the ground, looking up to see Dooku and Kenobi, and through tears, Obi-Wan told Anakin that he truly was sorry. But Vader said that Anakin is gone, so Obi-Wan acknowledged that his friend is truly dead, and nodded to Dooku. As Obi-Wan turned around, Dooku plunged his saber through Vader's back, killing him, finally giving peace to Anakin. And as Dooku and Obi-Wan now were leaving together, Obi-Wan very saddened, but realizing this was necessary, Dooku told Obi-Wan that now is the time to strike back, take the fight to the Empire, and finally have peace in the galaxy. But Obi-Wan told Dooku that this is not his fight. His responsibilities run deeper. But Obi-Wan did tell Dooku that he can sense that he is not all the way back in the light. So Obi-Wan sat down with Dooku and told him to reach out into the Force with him. Dooku did this, and Obi-Wan, feeling more connected to the Force than ever, reached out to his former master. And finally, after years of trying, the ghost of Qui-Gon Jinn came to both Obi-Wan and Dooku. And as Dooku felt this, Obi-Wan said he must go, but Qui-Gon can help him finish his journey back to the light. So as Obi-Wan would return to Tatooine with Leia safe, Dooku returned to Sereno and began new meditations and training with Qui-Gon. This was the one person that could truly help Dooku completely rid himself of the darkness. So he would work with Qui-Gon, feeling truly happy to be with his former apprentice, until one day, Bail Organa would return once more, saying that now is the time to strike. The rebellion is strong with a fleet ready, and the droid army now has a fleet ready to go. They just need another leader to command them as they attack Coruscant. So it was time that Dooku officially reintroduce himself to the galaxy. And Dooku agreed. He was a new man, and he would help save the galaxy from the tyranny that he helped put into place. So he would leave with Bail to Mokiv, where the fleet of droids was waiting, and he would take control of it, as Bail readied the Rebel Alliance fleet. They would overwhelm Coruscant, and Dooku would take down Palpatine once and for all. And so Dooku would jump to hyperspace with his surprise droid army fleet to aid the rebels who have already engaged the Empire above the planet. The new battle above Coruscant soon truly began, as the Rebel Alliance fleet, now bolstered by a droid army fleet under the leadership of Dooku, clashed with the strong Imperial blockade. The background of space that once bore witness to the battle between Republic and Separatists, where Dooku lost everything, was a new battle, as Dooku was trying to undo all of the destruction that he helped to create. The vast expanse of space would see starfighters darting between colossal capital ships, lasers were crossing the void of it, and explosions happened all around. The rebel fighters were weaving through the Imperial formations, engaging ties in fierce fights. Meanwhile, the droid fleet, returning from its own presumed death, presented a real challenge to the Empire. Dooku's strategic brilliance was evident, as the droid ships would create weaknesses in the Imperial formations, disrupting their attacks. And amidst the chaos of the space battle, Dooku saw an opportunity to complete his true mission. So he descended towards Coruscant's atmosphere, observing the ground battle unfolding below. The battle between the combined forces of rebels and droids against the Imperial stormtroopers was as intense on the ground as it was in space. Blaster fire lit up the streets as walkers and tanks clashed, and explosions were rocking the cityscape. Dooku observed with a mixture of satisfaction and sadness as his droid forces engaged the troops with calculated moves, utilizing advanced tactics, overwhelming firepower, and it was just like the Clone Wars. The rebels fought with tenacity, their determination fueled by the hope of freeing Coruscant from the grip of the Empire. Dooku was saddened seeing the citizens suffer another battle, but as he continued to observe the battle, he noticed something. The push against the Empire from this rebellion was giving hope to the people, and the people of Coruscant were joining the fight. Dooku was now very satisfied. The galaxy was uniting, and he flew his ship to the office of the Emperor, jumping out, slicing open to the window, igniting his blue lightsaber. Palpatine looked up to him and scowled. Dooku thought he even saw some fear, but more so surprised to see his former apprentice alive. Sidious didn't really care how he was alive. His empire was falling outside of his palace. He would kill Dooku once and for all, get reinforcements here immediately. So he ignited his red saber and moved with insane speed towards Dooku. And as the clash of their sabers quickly filled the room, Dooku moved with precise, elegant strikes despite his cybernetic hands. Sidious launched his own relentless assault, his red blades slashing through the air, with a need to kill his former apprentice. Dooku would parry each strike, showing Sidious he still has his truly elite dueling abilities. And Dooku always wondered if he could beat Sidious in a fight. Now was his chance to see. With every movement, he sought to outmaneuver the Sith Emperor, using his knowledge of Sidious's techniques against him. Despite the Emperor's overwhelming power, Dooku was calm, focused, drawing upon the teachings of the light side to defeat Sidious. And as the fight moved through the office, Dooku baited Sidious into overextending his attack. So he seized the moment, and Dooku lashed out with a flurry of strikes. In a desperate, final set of moves, Sidious unleashed a wave of lightning, attempting to overwhelm Dooku with the power of the dark side. But Dooku blocked it, spinning around to kill Sidious. His blade found its mark, cutting through Sidious's hands, and Dooku cut the red saber in his free hand. He now held the blue and red one like scissors across Sidious's neck, and with a look of triumph, Dooku cut off Sidious's head, finally killing the darkness for good. And Dooku would walk to the window, looking down on Coruscant. The Empire was in full retreat. Coruscant was won as the citizens joined the rebellion. Fireworks went off in the sky as Dooku finally looked upon a free, united planet. This would only be the beginning of taking down the Empire. And he was right. Within a year, Dooku would help lead this rebellion to a true, final victory over the Empire. Without Sidious, and with Dooku helping unite the people of the galaxy, the Empire never really stood a chance. Eventually, Obi-Wan would lead Luke Skywalker into battle, and Leia Organa would become a very, very elite politician throughout it all. Battle after battle, day after day, the Empire lost more and more, until it was nothing but a remnant. As the new Republic was established, Dooku and Bail Organa would become co-chancellors, with Leia working with them, as Dooku had redeemed himself to bring forth the vision he always had for the Republic. Soon, him and Obi-Wan would be reunited, and they would work together with the ghost of Qui-Gon to train Luke Skywalker. And folks, that is our story for today. This is one I've wanted to do for a while. I just wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do, because, it's hard to have Dooku survive, and then not have him interfere with the events of Revenge of the Sith. So I wanted to have it be a way where he can survive, but kind of has to just go into hiding until the Empire rises, and from there, there's only so much he can do without hands, with an entire stab wound through his chest. I know, Star Wars surviving stab wounds, we don't love it, but I wanted to do it for myself, so whatever. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. I really did enjoy writing about Dooku. I always do. He's a really, really interesting character. As for the galaxy maybe forgiving him, I think it's possible. They just hate the Empire at the end of it, and I don't know, separatist planets were kind of the catalysts of the rebellion, so it's possible. Maybe that's a mistake, but you guys let me know what you thought. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you. Oh, also, sorry about killing Vader. Or Anakin. Had to do it. See you in the next video.
Come on. That had to be done. Anyway, yeah. Bye for now, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And don't forget to check out my reaction playlist to see more of my reactions, too. And I'll put the channel in the description below, so you can check out the original video and the channel. Bye for now. I'll see you guys next time. See ya.